Begin afresh every morning. Devotional thoughts for women.
Good morning, dear friends. Today, September 21st, 2023, our devotional is entitled Weak Body, Strong Faith. The scripture reading is taken from Mark chapter 5, verse 33. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. The woman with the bloody discharge is anonymous, but hers is a story of faith. Having suffered that type of hemorrhage for over a decade, left her bankrupt. She had seen many doctors who left her with less money and less hope than before. Mark chapter 5, verse 26. What's more, according to Jewish ceremonial law, a woman who was bleeding was unclean for 7 days after it stopped. So this woman, whose name we do not know, had been impure in her society for 12 years, separated from her family, from religious fellowship, and from her friends. Unusual bleeding of this kind also has many physical effects. I bled once for 40 days and I became faint and dizzy. I felt sleepy all the time, my mind was clouded, my hemoglobin was low, and I felt generally weak and miserable. Perhaps she could not even walk and had to drag herself along. This woman had heard of Jesus and she tried to get near him, but it was so difficult to do so with the crowd. He was walking down the road and people crowded around him, pushing each other. She dragged herself near enough to touch the edge of his cloak. She was exhausted, but with the thin thread of hope she grabbed hold of the divine healer's robe. She immediately felt that her discharge stopped and a current of renewed energy flowed through her body. When she touched Jesus' clothing, power went out from him. It's interesting to note that from the word that the original Greek uses in this text for power, dunamis, comes our word dynamite. That is the type of power that went out from Jesus. Dare today to experience that power. All you need to do is reach out to him with faith. Who touched me? Asked Jesus. It seemed like a foolish question, because the crowd was pushing on him from all sides. If Jesus hadn't said anything, the woman might have left with the wrong idea that there was some sort of mystical power in the master's clothing. His question was intentional, to draw her out of her anonymity and discrimination, and also to give a lesson about the profound difference between touching without purpose and touching with faith. His question was not to shame her, but rather to restore her. Everyone considered her as impure. When Jesus declared her to be healed, she was able to re-enter society. With fear and trembling, the healed woman fell at the feet of Jesus, confessing that she had been healed and expecting to be reprimanded for having contaminated a rabbi. Then she heard the sweet voice of Jesus calling her daughter. By faith, she received the peace she longed for. The soul that responds to the grace of God shall be like a watered garden. His health shall spring forth speedily, his light shall rise in obscurity, and the glory of the Lord shall be seen upon him. This woman needed physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. Her faith was exemplary. After this event, many came to touch Jesus' cloak and were healed. Mark chapter 6, verse 56. Consider doing the same someday.